Good morning. I am not a morning person. Trudy made me do this. She owes me a few snoozes. And I want to tell the choir that was beautiful, Bridge Over Troubled Water. It's such a profound song. I appreciated that this morning. I needed that this morning. I don't know how you knew, but I needed that. So I think Jeremy's got me on the slides. I'm not sure. Yep, there we go. I'll give you a forewarning. There's a lot of information on these slides. There is no expectation that you read them. These slides play double duty, if you will. They brief people about the history, and they also help form a chronology of the events and activities that we've taken so far under our hat as Pinellas Remembers. Our full name is Pinellas Remembers Community Remembrance Project Coalition. There will be a test at the end of this, and if anybody who caught it, I've got a prize for you, I promise. So I want to go ahead and get through these slides, and I want to thank Trudy, particularly here, and the Social Justice Committee, and the Racial Justice subcomponent of that for bringing me into the fold here at the Unitarian Universalists of Clearwater. It's been a pleasure, and it will continue to be a pleasure, I assure you. Where are we? Okay, the officers, very quickly. I am Danny E. White, the president of the organization, Pinellas Remembers. What's the rest? Never mind. And we are in the midst of regrouping. I don't know if any of you have worked with nonprofit organizations in the past. Sometimes they can get a little convoluted, I'm going to say, and you have to transition and pivot as things are necessary. But presently, Ms. Leontine Middleton, our first vice president, Ms. Vel Thompson, our second vice president, Reverend Christy Hardwick is our recording secretary, Julie Armstrong, Professor Julie Armstrong is our corresponding secretary, and Mr. Julian Riley is our present treasurer at the moment. We will have elections this month, and this roster will change, but I thought I'd give you an idea of the infrastructure, if you will, of Pinellas Remembers. So, next, our association with EJI. Well, I think you just got a quick briefing about what Pinellas Remembers is. Pinellas Remembers is, of course, in association. We say in association with the Equal Justice Initiative. We have been signed off on as a valid community effort that is promoting all that EJI stands for, as you heard in the opening statement. So there are components that will be flushed out a little bit more as we go through the slides, but this is an overview of what happens. The Community Remembrance Project and has partnered with communities around the United States with the opportunity to erect memorial markers for lynching victims, particularly around the United States, that EJI has in fact documented themselves over a period of time. We're not going to go all into the statistics and so forth, but that is what we do, and we fully support the work of Brian Stevenson, the head of the Equal Justice Initiative out of Montgomery, Alabama. And part of that erecting and installing the markers becomes an opportunity for collection of soil as close to the spot where the victim was known to have been lynched, or a ceremonial collection of soil at the spot where the actual marker is to be installed. For example, it would be soil collected from this land should the marker actually get installed here. And that's a part of the process. And I hate when these things lock up. Cancel. Pardon me. All right. Okay. And Of course, the historical markers, they require entities like Pinellas Remembers to do our own research about the individual, notwithstanding the fact that the Equal Justice Initiative has already put some of this information in place. The opportunity is for us to understand it even deeper, perhaps, than EJI has discovered, because we have the opportunity to get local into the minutia, for lack of a better term, about the lynching victim. And I know this is not the most joyous subject that we could entertain, but this is a part of American history. It is not black, it is not white, it is American, and our intent is to be deliberate in helping people understand the full breadth and scope of what has happened in this nation to a particular people. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a background so I can take you through where we came from on the next slide. Yesterday, yeah, again, I told you there's a lot of information up there. Don't worry about it, I'll get you through it. In 2017, the seed was planted to build Pinellas Remembers as a component of the EJI opportunity. It was done at a church. How appropriate. And St. Augustine, some people say, Episcopal Church. It's over in St. Petersburg. And they began to explore the opportunity to erect a marker to John Evans. We know exactly what happened to John Evans. It's in the newspapers. It's well documented in the newspapers. So that one was, I want to say easy, but it was still a lot of work that went into actually putting this sign into the earth. In 2018 to 2020, we had there were 90 people who were voluntarily signed up to become a part of Pinellas Remembers. And over time, as volunteering goes, it trickles to a few who are actually doing the hands-on work. I always give the disclaimer that I came on board with Pinellas Remembers after much of the heavy lifting about putting the marker in the earth for John Evans had already been done. I came in to the part where we operationalized everything that had to be done to actually get it done. And of course, COVID-19 raised its ugly head. And because we were interactive, social, face-to-face people, you could imagine what happened. I'm sure we don't need to rehash all of that. But it certainly did get in the way of putting the marker in the earth. After several delays in 2021, we did in fact put the John Evans Memorial into the earth. It's located at Dr. Martin Luther King Street South at 2nd Avenue South in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's near Tropicana Field, and it is nestled poetically in between two oak trees that it sits between. And unaesthetically, just if you go and try to see the marker, if you find the U-Haul facility near Tropicana Field, you found the marker. So we're working on getting the marker a bit more dignified, trust me, because it's not a pretty thing right now. So anyway, we put that in our earth in 2021 on May 10th. We had a candlelight vigil, actually, for Parker Watson, because his name is actually mentioned in the John Evans lynching narrative that the coalition is responsible for drafting for the marker. And so one of our members, Susanna Darwin, she put together, it's like that was a great idea, because otherwise Mr. Watson, it would be insignificant, but his name is on the marker. So we have continued to hold candlelight vigils at that spot. On June 12th in 2021, we hosted an arts and essay contest that is fun. Well, the essay contest is funded by EJ. I don't want to get that confused. And we had actually representatives from EJI come, and they were on site at the Woodson African American Museum of Florida, as it is now called, and we had a wonderful ceremony there. So the same thing will happen here as we move forward and as the marker is determined to be installed here. In 2021, there was a change of leadership, and that's where I came in June. Yes, June, the board and the membership voted to move away from a co-chair structure. There were two people, Miss Gwendolyn Reese, our griot, and history griot in St. Petersburg, and attorney Jacqueline Hubbard were the initial chair people, if you will, co-chairs of the organization, and we went down to a single person, and they put that all on me. And I don't know why, but I'm here, and I plan on staying here. I became the president in 2022. The bylaws, we formalized our bylaws to get us a bit more formal, and we are in fact registered with the state of Florida as a non-profit entity, not a 501c3 yet, but we are moving in that direction. It takes time. And we can go to tomorrow, the next. Oh, you're already there. All right. On March, and I'm going to give you a few dates here. Don't try to remember all of this stuff. Certainly, I'll be sharing. Trudy has all of this statistical data available to share with you. On March 20th, the UUC, I'm going to use your abbreviation, here was approached to install the Watson Memorial on your land, and UUC board unanimously agreed to pursue the marker on April 24th. So if any of you are actually on the board here at UUC, I certainly do appreciate that you have come on board with this concept, and I much appreciate it. One of the biggest challenges in putting up memorial markers is finding the land. So we very much appreciate that you stepped forward in that respect. On May 7th, we have an individual, Reverend Lee Hall Perkins, and he is of the Mount Zion United Methodist Church here in Clearwater on Sunset Road. I don't know where that is, actually, but I understand it's a very nice property, and he threw his hat in the ring, if you will, to also bid for having the marker installed on their property. He has been communicated with about what I communicated with UUC before, and he understands that that would require further discussion as to whether his church would be an option for us to pursue. There is a lot of work that goes into this, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of what has to happen. It sounds very easy, I think, if you're thinking about it in your head. Okay, you get a marker, you put it in the earth, you have a ceremony, and you say amen. No, there's a lot more work to it than that. We will need to create the legal agreements with your church and have those legal agreements forwarded to our sponsor, the Equal Justice Initiative. I assure you that everything that happens as the marker moves toward reality would have to be signed off and approved by the Equal Justice Initiative. That office, the Community Remembrance Office at EJI, is quite busy right now. I guess that's a good problem to have, but it's not necessarily a good problem for me because I'm one of those persons who like, get it done. So we have to be, I specifically have to be a little bit patient in the process, but we will get through this, absolutely. And the EJI and Pinellas Remembers will sign off again on all of the details, the fabrication and the shipping of the marker. Let me back up just a second. The narrative that speaks to the specifics about Mr. Watson's lynching will have to be crafted by Pinellas Remembers. And at this point, The Equal Justice Initiative accepts the narrative that we propose, and then they edit it to be in compliance with what message they want to carry out specifically. So it actually takes a little bit of the weight off of it. We actually do have quite a bit of information about Parker Watson that we can share with EJI, and they will craft the narrative. We don't know what the fabrication timeline looks like to create these, and then the shipping, of course. And then we have the unveiling ceremony that would happen at the place of the installing the marker. And then we get to some of the more light parts of this whole process, for I would say, and that would be the racial justice contest. Is the next slide. Yeah. So about this racial justice, and I love this, the Equal Justice Initiative, they spend up to $5,000 in awarding scholars in grades 9 through 12 that write about their lived experiences or their perceived experiences with race and race relations. The Equal Justice Initiative actually grades those essays. We do not do that ourselves, and they are the ones that award who's going to get the mark, who's going to get the scholarship money from these specific essays. And our first go-round with this, when we did the John Evans installation, it was absolutely phenomenal, the response from kids. I don't hang around a lot of younger people a lot, so it's so refreshing to get to hear an expression from that age group that doesn't have the baggage that comes with age. It's really wonderful to hear that. And I think should you witness that, you will find that to be true. It very much resonates. Okay, and we can go on to the next slide. I think it's supplemental arts. Yep, very good, thank you. In 2021, we were able to enhance the essay component of this whole process. The marker and the essay contest, EJI requires that they be done simultaneously, meaning you put the marker in and then you have a ceremony inside somewhere where the kids can express their essays, can read them. The winners get to read them. Not everybody gets to read the essays. We'd be here all day. But the essay contest was supplemented by grants, generous grants, from the Foundation for a Healthy St. Pete, which is in St. Petersburg. They work on race, equity, and health. And the Tampa Bay Rays gave us quite a generous donation as well. So we had this funding, and so we decided to expand our award to the students by actually doing an arts contest, which it's performing arts, do your thing, and it's also digital art and physically painted art, for lack of a better term. Anything that is considered artistic falls under this umbrella, and we will award them ourselves along with the host gets to participate in this as well as to which of these submissions that we're going to award in this supplemental program. And I want to thank the UUC, Trudy and team, for having already offered a $2,000 investment in the scholarship program specifically for the arts component in honor of your benefactor, Mrs. Pat McGivern. And I understand she is deceased, correct? Yes. God rest her. And we thank everybody who was involved in that decision to help support this. We will also seek other funding that will enhance even that generosity as we go forward. And I can bring a special plate if you'd like, and we can pass. No, I'm losing you? Okay, never mind. All righty. The next is it's a somber piece. The soil collections, you probably can't see that picture very well, but in EJI, if you can imagine that doorway, the doorway entry into here, you magnify that doorway maybe like 3 times and add shelves to it. That's where the jars go. They're huge, I call them pickle jars, the big jars of the soil collected at the site, and they're on display at the Legacy Museum in Montgomery, Alabama, and on the wall is overwhelming. The museum is overwhelming in and of itself, but this somber point where you come and you see this wall of terror is quite something to see. So that part, that's where the soil collection actually goes, is the point I wish to make here. And the next. Yay, okay. What has to happen? This is like the work, and I'm not going to go over every single one of these, but Pinellas Remembers will establish committees that are focused on doing the outreach to the schools, the NAACP, interested organizations here. We've already done that in this area. Pinellas County School Board, Pinellas County African American Historical Museum, at the Curtis here in Clearwater. Naturally, we want to focus on entities and organizations that are in this vicinity because they have the local reach to get to this kids specifically for the essay and arts contest. We want them to be involved. And the Florida Holocaust Museum. In St. Petersburg, they have the St. Pete Youth Farm, and I don't know if you have something similar here, but this is actually a farm where kids get paid to go out and learn life skills and toil in the earth in growing things. And it's a wonderful program supported by the city of St. Petersburg, but again, it's youth-focused, and we need that. The Association for the Study of African American Life and History, also called ASALH, of Tampa Bay, which is out of the Tampa area, and of St. Petersburg. There's 2 specific branches, and we're going to contact faith-based entities, Tampa Bay Rays, again, and the Foundation for a Healthy St. Pete, because we want their money to support this. And we'll move on to the final slide. Don't worry about reading all of that. This is like the action items, the project management component of it. It says who's going to do what from the notifications, and who's going to do what at UUC, and who's going to do what at Pinellas Remembers. And then in the very last block to your right is the work that Pinellas Remembers has to do to bring this to fruition. And we're looking at, I'm going to be optimistic. This is an optimistic projection that it takes about 10 months for this whole thing to get taken care of. And we've come to the actual ceremony of installing the marker. It took 17, 18, 19, 20. It took over 4 years to get the first one in, but you have to take out 2 of those years if you count the ugly head of COVID in there, because we couldn't get anywhere at that point. So on the last slide, and I thank you for your indulgence with this bombardment of information that I've just given to you, but I assure you it all comes together in the end. We have a video of Pinellas Remembers Community Remembers Project Coalition through its evolution, for lack of a better term. And if you have a device and you'd like to try to capture that cue, I think everybody's on silent or off, but Trudy will be able to share this QR code, this quick reference code. You point your phone at it as like you're taking a picture, and it will take you specifically to this video that I would love for you guys to take 20 minutes of your life and watch this video. It will help bring everything that I've just spoken. Hopefully, it'll help it gel a little bit better. And with that, I wish to thank every single person here present today. Thank God, and I look forward to continuing the good work that we are doing under Pinellas Remembers with the good people of UUC. Thank you.